Let me tell you something. A driver don't pick the car. Car pick the driver. It's a mystical bond between man and machine. It's a mystical bond between man.
What's up, you beautiful collectors and action figure fans? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the folks at Threezero, we're going to be taking a look at their new Transformers Bumblebee Premium Collectible Bumblebee figure. Now, this is the one that I was really looking forward to. They released a more affordable, smaller version of Bumblebee a little while ago, but this is the beast that I really wanted for my collection. For the package, absolutely gorgeous. You can see Bumblebee running along a road right there. You got a silhouette of his head in the background, and then you can see like helicopters right there. Really cool looking. Of course, you got the Transformers Bumblebee logo right down there, the Threezero logo, Transformers. Come around to the top, says Bumblebee there. Side here has an absolutely iconic image of Bumblebee from the film doing that Breakfast Club fist pump. Absolutely fantastic scene right there. Opposite side here has an image of him just kind of standing there, and then you got various warnings and things of that nature. Come around to the back of the box and you can see that this is a premium collectible figure. You got the Threezero hologram right up here with a big, beautiful Autobot logo. And then this is a heavy duty plastic. It's not just like a slip sleeve cover. I mean, it is a slip sleeve cover, but it's all out of a heavy duty plastic, so there's some good like rigidity to the actual package itself. It's a little bit tricky to get out, honestly, so lifting that up, come on, there we go, almost there, there we are. And then on the inside, he's protected by several like inches of heavy duty styrofoam. The front here, you can see you got the Autobot logo, Transformers Bumblebee right down there. Then when you take this section out and move it down, on the inside are all of his accessories. We'll take a closer look at that in a little bit. Get this out of the way. This one decided it fell. Obviously though, we'll take a look at that here in greater detail later on. And then this section opens up, and on the inside is where the figure is. Obviously he's not here right now because I don't want to spoil that for you guys, but packaging wise is really very nice. As a premium collectible, it's nice that they actually put that premium sort of level in the packaging itself. But for the packaging, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Threezero Premium Collectible Bumblebee from Transformers Bumblebee opened up and out of its packaging. Now starting off first, as always, with these figures you want to go through the instructions very carefully. It explains how you swap out the interchangeable head, how to install the batteries, how you can swap out his eyebrows, various bits of articulation. You come around to the inside here, how to install the lights for his chest, all other sorts of details to really make this figure a shine in your collection. It is a premium collectible, and you do want to make sure that you go through all this stuff so you get the most out of him and not damage him in any way. Now, starting off first with his accessories, he comes with a pretty decent amount. That original deluxe one came with a pretty good amount as well, but this really is a much more detailed and involved piece. First up, he does come with his arm blade attachment. We saw this a lot throughout the movie. Almost was his preferred weapon, but coming in to take a closer look at this, in terms of the sculpt, you are not going to get a better representation of how Bumblebee looked in that film. But the paint detail also really does set it apart. You can see the blade has a lot of different nicks and gouges in there, giving a very worn look. Do be careful, that is pointy, but you also have a serrated edge. You can see a lot of other sculpted detail. Actually, that's Cybertronian. Somebody may be able to actually translate that. I'm curious if it does say anything. But then you look at the inside here, and again, tremendous amount of detail and weathering, both in terms of the sculpt as well as the paint detail. And that carries over to the yellow bit here, which represents his more visible car parts. And you see a lot of dirt on there, amazing amount of detail, giving him a very rusted sort of look. And when you feel it, texturally, it does have a rust sort of feel. That is fantastic. Come around to the inside, and those Cybertronian glyphs carry over. Not really anything here because this is what's going to attach. But I like how even on the edges on the inside here, which you barely see, they can be seen, but only slightly, but you have some of that paint coming down there as well. That is terrific. Like I said, it seems like this was his primary weapon throughout the movie, but he also did have a giant arm cannon. It goes like that, actually. And one thing that I never noticed, honestly, was this kind of pops out, I guess, and he actually is kind of holding it. These are his fingers. I never, like I said, noticed that before in the film, but it's almost like it sprouts out from kind of his arm area and then carries out through the palm of his hand, and he wraps his fingers around it. That's amazing. And again, tremendous amount of paint detail on here. A lot of the rust and worn look all throughout it. A lot of dirt and grime. You look at the metal bits, and while they're not actually metal, the paint detail on here really does give it a very metal look. Come around to the underside here, you got that same wear on this piece. It looks absolutely amazing. The barrel here has a lot of different paint details on here. This does actually light up. To access that, you're going to want to pull this piece off. Now, it does require a total of 8 AG13 batteries. There are several different equivalents of that. Now, the ones that I got, I think, are Energizer 357s. They are all the same size. It's just a slightly different material, but that lights up because of these batteries. And you got the switch right here along the side that when you flip it, if I can, there we go. Let's get it. You can see this bit, and boom. There is a very nice bright LED light. So it will last a fairly good amount of time. And then for this, you're just going to bring this back around, and you'll, let's see, which way did it go? That, maybe? Yeah, there we go. And then you're going to attach that to his arm, and now he's got his cannon. I'll show you how to attach the arm. It's really simple, just pegs in there. But absolutely gorgeous red light on there. One thing that I do wish is that they incorporated the on-off switch in an easier place to get to than detaching this, coming in here, and then switching it off and on. I wish that there was a button that they could have put somewhere, you know, maybe push down one of the fingers or something to activate that. That would be the only real nitpick that I can think of with this. Otherwise, tremendous amount of detail and a really fun play feature as well. Now, a couple other accessories that he has with are mostly just customization. Well, no, okay, well, let's focus on this. This is a slightly more rubbery material. Be careful with this. It is very small, but this is the little tool that, well, I don't know if I would say it's a tool, but this is what he stuck his finger in. It attaches to his finger. You got a little hole section right here. You just plug that into his finger, and I'll show that off as well. But this is what he stuck in the electrical outlet and shocked himself, which then sent out the signal to the Decepticons basically where he was. But even though that this is small and fairly soft material, a lot of great paint detail on there as well. You can see that very nice silver paint with a very dirty wash over it. Gives it a tremendous amount of lifelike realism. That is terrific to see. So that's another little accessory. The other parts are basically, like I said, customization options. Now, at several different points in time in the film, he had the little wings coming around here to the back, and I'm going to spin them around here just so you can see this. Out of the package, he does not come with any of these wings attached to him, so it allows you to kind of pick what you want. You have these bits right here, which are the fully deployed doors. Again, detail wise is outstanding, and both of them have it, and I like how both are unique. You can see you got some of that rust kind of bleeding down from this area, whereas that's now towards the front. You got some rust here in the front. That doesn't have it. You got some worn rust marks right down there. I mean, it's not symmetrical, and I appreciate that. Come around to the inside here, really nice detail as well. They actually have a handle sculpted in there that, I don't know how you can see. Yeah, you can kind of see it. There's actually a gap there, which is nice. You got the little pockets here in the door, which look terrific. And then, of course, the door locks as well as the window crank thing. That's there. It is a translucent plastic here for the window, which does look really good. And then coming around to attach that, we're gonna come up here. I'm gonna turn the camera. You have these little bits. Now, these attach. You got the little strut right here. You just come around here and you push that in there. You have, well, maybe if I have it in the right spot, you have some holes here that line up with some posts on the inside there. If I get it in the right one, there we go. So there's that, and then you're going to take this, and you got a little ball section right here that will now attach to this. So you can take that, all right, that's going to go there, locking that in. And then you take the other one, again, have the little strut on the outside, bring it up along the back, give that a good push. That friction locks into place, and then put that there. And there you have his little door wings, which is kind of a classic look for Bumblebee. Throughout the movies, he always had that in some way, shape, or form. And due to the fact that those are ball joints, you can actually articulate those around. So if you wanted to bring those down, you could, and you can have it like that. It's all personal preference on how you want to do it, or put it up here, and then they do flex in and out a little bit. But that does look a little bit more Bumblebee-ish. Going back to the original Bay movies, that's kind of a throwback to that look. Or you can take all of this off. When you take it off, kind of want to pull from that strut that I kept talking about. That helps to release things. So put your finger there, give it a little push, and that will remove that. Now in the movie, he also had a look that was more compressed. That's where these pieces come in. They have that little strut there as well. You're just gonna bring this in. It's a little bit tricky because you kind of have to go underneath the tire, but just bring that up. Give that a little push, and that also can articulate side to side, so you can position that how you want. Then do that on this side as well. Bring it underneath the tire. Give that a good little push to friction lock that into place like so. And now you have a more compressed look for him, which honestly, I think I like that look a little bit more. While I did like the doors kind of acting like little wings, personally, I think that's a cleaner, better look for Bumblebee. Even going to the original Bay movies, I liked it more when the wings would be angling down. They did that sometimes there as well, but I think that looks good. And I love how it shows a little bit of a transformation where the door sections, if we're gonna go like this, the door sections kind of fold and compress to create that. And I like how the windows are basically the same size as well. So it's like this piece did transform into that. So like I said, customization options all over the place, but that's not even it. So obviously this is his regular look. Now, he did also have that battle mask. Again, a very classic sort of thing for Bumblebee and just Transformers in general to have. And they give you that as well. This has a very, kind of wasp looking thing, honestly, but it has that Bumblebee sort of look to it, which is great. Again, this is a little bit more classic of a look for Bumblebee from the films. His battle mask here gets a little bit different looking, but I love what they did with the eyes in terms of creating and capturing that honeycomb look. That looks great. Again, great detail on there all the way around. Tremendous, tremendous look to that. Now this, for swapping this out, you just grab hold of it, pop it off. It's just a ball joint, and then you can take this one and you can put that on just like that. And that's a cool look as well. He got like that when he would get angry. One of the absolute best scenes is when he went from being kind of happy in that carefree Bumblebee that we know and love to an angry Bumblebee. And the best way that they showed that in the film was his eyes. They changed from a blue color to a red color, coming in to take a closer look at the head sculpt. That is absolutely gorgeous looking. The detail that Threezero has captured is always impressive, and that is certainly the case here. Now, while I showed that his arm could light up, he's got a couple other light up features, two of which being both of his heads. Now to access that, I'm going to come back. What you want to do, I don't want you to see that. So you want to replace the batteries right here. It takes 2 of those batteries that I told you about. And the thing that I really like about this is it doesn't have a difficult place to get at the batteries. You could kind of see, I already spoiled it. You push the Autobot logo and you get his normal eyes, which I don't know how well this is going to come in. You can see the inside of his eyes have an amazing amount of detail, which give it a ribbed sort of look. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than the fact that around his eyes you can see all those little sort of gear looking, I don't know how to describe that, but the fact that they were able to recreate that in terms of this scale is breathtaking. That face looks amazing, but that's not it. When he got angry, again, all you have to do, push that, and now you have Angry Bumblebee. And that looks absolutely wicked, but that's not it. Customization is what this is all about. You can take this headpiece off and they give you 3 additional brow attachments. You can see his brows right here. So this is just the more, I guess, normal look. A lot of these I don't really know which ones are which, but you just pull this piece off. It's a little bit difficult to get to, but there's a little tab here in the middle. Just kind of put your finger in there, and there you go, and pull that away just like that. Now I'm going to bring this one in, and then you put that tab in there, and that's him looking sad. Look at that. Look at that. That's amazing. Look how freaking amazing that is. Wow. The ability to change his expression is so wickedly awesome. So now you have a sad one. Let's see what this next one is here. This one I'm thinking is the one that I'm going to use with the red eyes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is him angry. That is freaking incredible. Absolutely incredible. Blows me away. So you have that as an option. And then the final option is a squinting one. So bring that in, tab that in there, put that back on, and I mean, that kind of looks like he's sad too. I don't know. Both of them look kind of sad. So you get several different options though with it, but that really impresses me to see, and I really am surprised at how, like I said, just overall emotive he can be by just changing the eyebrows. Oh, I didn't put one back in there. I guess if you don't want to put one on there, you can just leave it wide open like so. But there's that. Now, like I said, he has another head. The problem that I had though is that I didn't have enough batteries for both heads, but here that is. We're going to put that on there again. Like I said, it's just a ball joint, but much like the other one, you do have that button right there that allows you to push it, and you can have blue eyes in there, which does look really sharp, but the best is the red eye look. It's a little bit better to show with the lights off just because it diffuses through that little honeycomb pattern on the eyes, but I love how that honeycomb pattern, as you can see, gives a really nice spread to the light as it comes through. And then looking at the blue again, that looks really nice. I mean, I love that very crystal sort of look, but that is the best look. So awesome. So awesome. So taking that off, I'm going to put his original head back on. And both are absolutely terrific looking in terms of the overall presence, but that, again, just a little bit more classic looking. Now, the other feature that he does have is a light up chest. This one is definitely one that I wish they did a little bit differently. To access that, you actually have to take this and pull this away. You have a little ball joint that it attaches to, and then it uses the same batteries here, but the switch is on the inside here. There's no real way to get to it other than going through the, the batteries are kind of hanging out there. There's no real good way to get there, and then you have to bring this back in, and I always have a hard time attaching ball joints from the opposite angle. So let's see how easily I can get that in there. There we go. Okay, and then this one as well, you're going to pull this away, and I'll pull that whole thing on. All right, well, either way, it's just a ball joint. And then I'm going to put that back in there like so. Ball joints, there we go, have a tendency to kind of want to move around, but there's the full look for him with all his stuff, well, not all of his stuff lit up, but with his chest and everything lit up. I think that that's great as well. The only thing that, like I said, I wish was done differently would be the placement of the on-off switch. I don't know if they could have made these pushable, much like the Autobot logo was, to get them to turn on, but I love that. That's cool. Definitely has a very eye-catching effect, and again, very bright LED lights. But to take them on, or to turn them off again, you gotta pull that apart, flip the switch, put the ball, reattach the ball socket, and then see, yeah, when it does that, it tends to want to fall down. So you have to really make sure you get it in there good. That, and then turn the switch off, and then reattach the ball joint. So I love that added detail. I just wish that it was a little bit easier to get to. That's the only qualm that I have for it. Now, in terms of other detail and features that he has, again, one of the best scenes in the movie came when Carly decided she was going to fix his radio. And when you come down here, you have a tremendous amount of detail there. It was underneath this. And you can see you got the panel right there. So what they did was made the panel slide up. And now you can see his tape player right underneath there. In amazing detail. You got a lot of really nice color with the buttons and things of that nature. That is a great attention to detail. Putting that in was something that they didn't need to do, and then it comes right back down and covers it up. They didn't need to do that, but they went that extra step for this premium piece, and that turned out wonderful. That was a very nice surprise to see. But for the features on this guy, in addition to the accessories, as you can see, he comes with a lot of accessories, and he has a lot of really cool features, which really does, to me, make this guy absolutely worth it. Now, coming in to take a closer look at him, we already did kind of focus on the head, but you can see all that detail still carries over beautifully. A lot of great sculpted detail through the chest area. Again, that yellow section here has a really great wear throughout the entire piece. Even the detail on the inside of the arm, wonderful. All the extra little bits, like on the elbow section, the bicep, all of it, absolutely gorgeous. You look at this bit right here. Again, you have the cassette player there. Slide that down, hide that. But you basically can see like his engine right there. Take a look at his thigh pieces. You got the little taillight things that the Beetles have. That's put on there. Taking a look at the back of them, you can see all that detail carries over in the back as well, with some really nice tires, really very dirty looking as well. You look at like his spine here, looks really nice. You got some extra paint detail all throughout it. I mean, an amazing amount of detail. Look at the thigh section here. Again, you got that gorgeous wear paint on there. The legs are massive on him. That's one thing that's really impressive about this guy. He's heavy. I'll get to that in a bit, but all that extra detail in the legs, the feet. You come around to the back of him, you can see you got his taillights right there with a really nice translucent red plastic. Great detail in the back of the leg as well. He is, like I said, very heavy. That's because his frame is actually made out of die cast, which gives him a very solid feel. I mean, it really is a very well done figure. First articulation, There's literally almost 100 points of articulation in this guy. I think I list it as 90, and I'm probably not going to get all of them, but the ear section here can actually articulate up. That completes the look. Both of these heads have that. You can put that up. That's a little bit more pointed, a little bit more stingerish-y, but you do have that on both of those head sculpts. The neck section here is on a ball joint, so you can get that going up and down, but also, well, I'm sorry, the head section is on a ball joint, so you can get that moving around, but the neck as well also rotates. That's a little bit more tricky to get to. Kind of like just kind of put your thumb in there and rotate that around. So as you rotate his head, the neck kind of goes along with it, which is great. The chest piece here, these are all articulated as well. You can kind of move this around. You could see when I took it off that it's on like a ball joint. So you can kind of play with that a little bit and get that in kind of any kind of configuration really that you want. Let's get that flush, which is a nice additional touch. They come around to the back. Like I said, I don't know if this counts as an articulation point, but the tires rotate. These little bits here rotate if you have the extended wings. Those have the ball joint on there. The shoulders here, let me see here. I'm trying to see if, I don't know if he's got a butterfly joint, and I don't want to force anything, but you got really nice ratchet joints moving forward and back. You got a nice hinge with a very fluid motion going in and out. This piece up here is on a ball joint. You can hinge this up. You can rotate that around. Lots of articulation in those secondary kind of pieces like this. He does rotate at the bicep, but you kind of want to move this away when you do it to allow you to get a full range of motion with it. He has two joints here at the elbow. You can bend here and then it extends even more. So you can get a really deep curl there. That's really very nice. He also does rotate at, well, let's see, right down here at the forearm itself. Now, there's a couple pieces on here that are made out of a softer, more loose sort of bits, like these pieces right here. They're not rigidly attached. So when you move things around, that kind of gets out of the way and allows you to flex whatever you need to very nicely. Come down to the hands themselves. Those are on ball joints. The fingers are also on ball joints, so you can get a full range of motion with these bits. Really very nice. Now, like I was talking about, he does have that little finger piece. When you get that over there, this literally just comes around here and you're going to attach it right on there. And now he's got the little finger piece like I was talking about when he used that to check out the electrical outlet. So you can do that. You can also take this piece. This just pulls away. You can see that it just tabs in there very nicely. And then you can bring his bladed weapon on here and attach that there. Let's see if I can. There we go. Can do that right there. So personal preference, and again, display options are wonderful. Putting that back right there, get that in there. Come around to this other arm. It's all basically the same articulation. This piece here though separates, so give that a good kind of, get that in a good section there, and then that pulls away just like so, revealing the peg that you can then take this and plug that into. Be careful with this. That will fall off. You don't want that to get lost or anything, so make sure that that stays there. Kind of hides that joint really nicely. And then bring that up. And then that, well, let's just put that in there. Hold on. Let's see which way. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to go towards the back, I think. No, nope. Yeah, well, I'll worry about putting that back on in a second. But you put that in there. Thing. Why aren't you going in? There we go. All right. So now you have his cannon, which again, great, amazing amount of detail on that, which does look really very, very cool. Then again, we're going to put this piece right back up on there and then get that back in there just like so. And then the fingers here are also articulated. I don't think this piece, oh yeah, that actually does remove as well. So if you wanted to put the blade on this side, you could do that as well. Because when you had it on the other side, that blade point was kind of facing down. So you could do that if you really wanted to. I guess it's interchangeable, doesn't really matter. That's kind of cool that you can, again, just add whatever level of customization that you want for the piece. But then again, you got these little saw pieces that kind of get out of the way. Now for his abdomen area, all the rotation is up here. It's a little bit tricky to get to. You kind of have to hold this and this to move that around, but you can see you got a waist, well, ab rotation. It also kind of flexes forward and back. Just be careful when you're doing it, but that articulation is there as well. He does have a little bend here at the lower section, so you can also bend that forward and back to get some good deep curls. Also, you can see he goes side to side. Now these little thigh bits right here, these you do want to be careful with so that you don't damage anything, but you can see that he's got a nice ratchet joint forward and back, and then again little softer pieces here that kind of get out of the way as you move his legs. They also go in and out. This piece here can flex out so you can get a good range there, and then you can move that around. So a lot of the articulation is facilitated by all these extra little bits that move around, which is really very cool. And then it just shifts right back up there. But you got that little rotation right there so that when you want to rotate his leg, you can rotate that around to keep that positioned and then move it back. So just be careful as you're doing it, but that's a nice little added piece of articulation as well. You also do have that rotation at the upper part of the thigh. He has two bends here at the knee that you can see starts up here and then moves down there. I love the little piston work that happens. You do have to be a little bit cautious when you're moving that back up. Come down to the ankles. This little piece here flexes around so that you can get a good ankle tilt with it. It can also move forward and back, as you can see on a back joint of sorts. You can see it's kind of right back here, but you get a good range of motion there. It also does rotate. These little pieces kind of get in the way when you're doing it, but you don't need a tremendous amount of rotation with it. And then you have the little foot that can move around, and then you kind of want to move that out of the way so you can flex that foot piece up. So all the articulation you could possibly want is here in him. I'm still fiddling with his legs to kind of keep all that into place. So the articulation is all there. In any kind of pose that you would want to get him in, you really could. With, like I said, 90 points of articulation in the guy, all it takes is a little bit of patience, and you can get him in any look that you would really want. And in the words of Pixel Dan, it's comparison time. Here we have the new Transformers Bumblebee version of Bumblebee next to the Dark of the Moon release by Threezero. One thing that you're noticing is that there's a lot more complexity to the Bay designs. I mean, this guy has all sorts of stuff going on, but you can see the level of detail that Threezero is able to capture still carries on from this, which is insanely detailed, to this one, which is still insanely detailed, but based on the CGI render, not as busy as this guy. Also, you're seeing there is a size difference. He's about 13 inches, where this one is closer to maybe 14 and a half. But here you can really see a lot of the same design elements still. I mean, the head obviously is pretty much a dead ringer. The front chest with the headlights here, very much like this. You have the wings, you can use that on him if you want. The little shoulder bits just coming all the way down, and looking at all this. He's got these little shoulder sections. He has that as well. You got these little side bits here for the, why are you limboing? The side bits here are very much like the side bits that the original Bumblebee had. You take a look at the torso area. I'm just going to grab him by his head, and you have a lot of that engine detail there, much like he does. You look at the thigh, and while this is the back quarter panel of sorts right above where the rear tires are, that's what this is. I mean, everything is so incredibly similar between the two. I mean, I know I'm a proponent of saying that the Bumblebee movie is, is meant to, or at least was originally meant to be a prequel to, I know a lot of people disagree with that assessment because of what Hasbro and like the studios have said, but I still think that they originally intended this to be a prequel sort of movie. There's just too many similarities here. All the way down from like this little button thing in the back of his head that the original look had as well. One thing that I would say though is while he is smaller that metal frame makes him considerably heavier. I mean, this is like a weight to be lifting. This one's heavy, but one thing that has always been the case with him is he's a little bit wobbly. It's an older release. They have since perfected things considerably. He's also very heavy. Or, I mean, not as heavy, but he's kind of floppy around. But the overall design has been improved, that the metal frame really does add to his stability. I mean, he's a heavy figure, but it's not as wobbly as their previous one. So for me, honestly, I have no idea which one I'm going to display. This one, the size that it works so beautifully with is the statues that I have. And that's why I've kept this guy with my Prime 1 Studios Optimus, because I feel like the scale works beautifully. And I also think that's the case with this one. Obviously, a Volkswagen Beetle is a smaller car than a Camaro, so it makes sense that there's a bit of a size difference. But wow, look at what has been recreated here. But this guy turned out amazing. The only aspects that I wish were done a little bit differently would be the way that the light up feature was incorporated in the chest and the arm. The arms, not as bad, but the chest is a little bit cumbersome. If they did something with the chest and the arm that like they did with the eyes, that would be perfect. Overall though, the figure is outstanding. The level of detail, both in terms of the sculpt as well as the paint job, absolutely blow me away. Like I said, even when I was looking at some of his accessories, like the gun, I never noticed that these were his fingers before. That's something that I can notice now by being able to stare at this. It's just outstanding. Even in terms of putting in little Easter eggs, I guess, like the cassette player, that is a wonderful touch. This is a premium collectible, both in name, execution, and price. Coming in at about $450. It is about twice the price of that deluxe one that came out a little bit ago, but in my opinion, is twice as awesome. That deluxe one was about 8 inches tall. This one is about double that. That deluxe one had about 55 points of articulation compared to the 90 that this has, and it didn't come with as much stuff. So yeah, that deluxe one is in that affordable price range. And don't get me wrong, I love the fact that they do have a deluxe version. It allows collectors that are a little bit more budget conscious to be able to afford a figure like that. This one is definitely for more of a premium style collector. Both are fantastic, and depending on where you want to display your Bumblebee, he looks great regardless. I know, somebody's gonna say, but he doesn't transform. Yeah, well, this is literally the most accurate recreation of Bumblebee from the Transformers Bumblebee movie that we have ever gotten. And unless this is CGI, there's no way that he is going to be able to transform. But as a display piece, he is gorgeous. Now, pre-orders for this have been up for some time, and he is sold out in a lot of places. I do believe Sideshow Collectibles still offers them. So for that, I'll put a link right down in the video description where you can go to Sideshow and you can check out availability on this guy. For any other Threezero pre-orders, I'll put a link also down in the video description to Big Bad Toy Store. And there are some really good ones coming out. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would do one very small thing for me. And that's simply just to hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. Again, I want to send a huge shout out to the folks over at Threezero for helping to make this review possible. And finally, remember, the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.